Reggie Jackson. Perhaps no name in baseball history carries more swagger, controversy, and clutch magic than that of Mr. October. We all remember the confidence bordering on arrogance, the mammoth home runs that seemed to defy physics, the way he'd stand and admire his handiwork as the ball sailed into the night, the theatrical flair that made every at-bat feel like a Broadway performance. Picture this. It's Game 6 of the 1977 World Series. Yankees Stadium is electric. The crowd is on its feet. Reggie Jackson steps up into the batter's box like he's walking onto center stage at Carnegie Hall. 3 swings, 3 pitches, 3 home runs. Each one more spectacular than the last. By the time that third ball cleared the fence, Jackson had done something no player had ever done before in World Series history. And he did it with the kind of flair that made even his harshest critics stand up and applaud. But here's the thing about Reggie Jackson. He wasn't just a showman putting on an act. He was a generational talent who could back up every boastful claim with pure, undeniable skill. The charismatic superstar who declared himself the straw that stirs the drink, and then proved it on baseball's biggest stages time and time again. But as decades pass and new legends emerge, we risk forgetting what Reggie Jackson truly accomplished during his playing days. The absolutely staggering numbers, including 563 career home runs, 14 All-Star selections, and 5 World Series championships. We may remember the personality, but we find ourselves forgetting the greatness. Like how he hit .357 with 10 home runs in World Series play, making him quite possibly the greatest postseason performer in baseball history. Step right up to the plate with us, because Reggie Jackson wasn't just a ball player. He was pure theater wrapped in pinstripes. When Reggie Jackson was selected second overall in the 1966 MLB draft by the Kansas City Athletics, he was 20 years old and carried the dreams of a family that had overcome tremendous adversity. The Pennsylvania native was the son of Martinez Jackson, a dry cleaner who had made the difficult decision to move his family from the segregated South to find better opportunities in the North. Young Reggie grew up in Wyncote, a suburb of Philadelphia, where he was often one of the few black students in his school. Instead of shrinking from the pressure, Reggie learned to thrive under it. He developed the kind of mental toughness that would serve him well throughout his career. The ability to perform when all eyes were on him, when the stakes were highest. The 6-foot outfielder was a natural athlete who excelled in multiple sports at Cheltenham High School, but baseball was clearly his calling. Reggie had a swing that was both beautiful and violent, a powerful stroke that could turn on any fastball and send it tremendous distances. During his senior year, Jackson hit over .500 while leading his team to a league championship, numbers that caught the attention of athletics scout Lou Kohenauer. But Jackson's path to the majors wasn't smooth. After being drafted, he was sent to the minor leagues where his raw talent was evident, but his approach needed work. During a game in Eugene that first season, Jackson came to the plate in the 9th inning with the bases loaded and his team trailing by 2. He drove the pitch over the fence for a grand slam, then pointed to the sky and tipped his cap to the crowd, showing the kind of theatrical flair that would become his trademark. His manager, John McNamara, knew right then that this kid was different. "That boy's got ice water in his veins," McNamara told scouts. "He's not afraid of any situation. In fact, I think he prefers it when the pressure's on." Jackson debuted with Kansas City in 1967, but his first full season in 1968 showed flashes of greatness. He hit .250 with 29 home runs. Impressive power numbers for a 22-year-old playing in the pitcher-friendly Oakland Coliseum. In a game against the California Angels, Jackson hit a home run measured at 532 feet, one of the longest in Oakland Coliseum history. After the game, with trademark confidence, he told reporters, "I hit that ball so hard, I think it hurt." The 1969 season was Jackson's true breakout year. He hit .275 with 47 home runs and 118 RBIs. leading the American League in home runs during an era where pitchers dominated the game. What made Jackson special wasn't just his power, it was his ability to rise to the occasion in big moments. During a crucial series against the Minnesota Twins in September 1969, Jackson delivered one of the most memorable performances of his early career. In the series opener, he hit 2 home runs, including a walk-off shot in the bottom of the ninth. After crossing home plate, Jackson stood on the dugout steps and took a bow, showing the theatrical flair that would make him one of baseball's most polarizing figures. By 1971, Jackson had established himself as the centerpiece of what would become one of the great dynasties in baseball history. The Oakland Athletics were unlike anything baseball had seen before. Owner Charlie Finley encouraged his players to express their personalities, leading to the famous Mustache Gang and those iconic green and gold uniforms. In the middle of it all was Jackson, the emotional core who could deliver the big hit when the team needed it most. The 1972 season was when Jackson truly announced himself as a superstar on the national stage. In the ALCS against the Detroit Tigers, Jackson hit .417, helping lead the A's to their first World Series appearance since 1931. His performance in Game 5 was legendary. He scored the winning run on a steal of a home that tore his hamstring. As he lay on the ground in obvious pain, Jackson's first concern wasn't his injury. It was whether the A's had won. When teammates told him they'd clinched the pennant, Jackson smiled through the pain and said, "Then it was worth it." Jackson returned with a vengeance in 1973, hitting .293 with 32 home runs and 117 RBIs, winning the AL MVP award. In the World Series against the New York Mets, Jackson hit .310 with 6 RBIs, helping the A's win their first championship since 1930. His game-winning hit in Game 7, a 2-run double in the third inning, was a vintage Jackson clutch performance. The 1974 season brought another championship as Jackson hit .289 with 29 home runs, while the A's completed their three-peat. His home run in Game 4 of the World Series against the Dodgers broke a scoreless tie and essentially clinched the series. Before the 1976 season, tensions with owner Charlie Finley led to Jackson being traded to Baltimore for one season, where he hit .277 with 27 home runs. But Jackson's eyes were on a bigger prize. In November 1976, he signed a 5-year, $2.96 million deal with the New York Yankees, becoming the highest-paid player in the game. But Jackson's arrival in New York came with immediate controversy. In a now infamous interview with Sport magazine, Jackson declared, "I'm the straw that stirs the drink." The quote enraged his teammates, particularly Captain Thurman Munson. The tension exploded during a nationally televised game in Boston on June 18, 1977. Jackson appeared to loaf on a fly ball, and manager Billy Martin immediately pulled him from the game, leading to a heated confrontation in the dugout that was captured by television cameras and broadcast to millions of viewers. It was a public humiliation that threatened to tear the team apart. But here's the thing about Reggie Jackson. He's always performed best when his back was against the wall. Despite all the drama, Jackson was having one of the best seasons of his career, hitting .286 with 32 home runs and 110 RBIs, helping lead the Yankees to their first pennant since 1964. It was in the 1977 World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers that Reggie Jackson truly became Mr. October, cementing his legacy with one of the greatest individual performances in postseason history. Jackson had struggled in the first 4 games of the series, hitting just .125 with no home runs. The media questioned whether he could perform in the clutch, whether all his regular season heroics would translate to baseball's biggest stage. Jackson heard the criticism and decided to respond in the most dramatic way possible. Game 6 was at Yankee Stadium, with the Yankees leading the series 3-2 and 1 win away from their first championship since 1962. Jackson came to the plate in the 4th inning with the Yankees trailing 3-2 and Thurman Munson on first base. Dodgers pitcher Bert Hooton threw his fastball right down the middle. Jackson turned on it and sent it soaring into the right field stands for a 2-run homer. In the 5th inning, he came up against reliever Elias Sosa with a runner on first. Jackson was sitting on the slider, turned on it, and drove it even deeper into the right field stands. The crowd was now on its feet every time Jackson came to the plate, sensing history in the making. In the 8th inning, he faced knuckleball pitcher Charlie Howe. Howe threw Jackson a knuckleball, and Jackson launched it into the center field bleachers. His 3rd home run of the game on 3 consecutive pitches, each one farther than the last. As Jackson rounded the bases after that 3rd home run, the crowd was in absolute pandemonium. Fans were throwing confetti, standing on their seats, screaming themselves hoarse. Jackson had done something no player had ever done before in World Series history: 3 home runs on 3 consecutive pitches. And he'd done it with theatrical flair that made it feel like performance art. The performance earned Jackson World Series MVP honors and forever linked his name with October baseball. From that moment forward, he would be known as Mr. October, the player who could be counted on to deliver when it mattered most. Jackson followed up 1977 with another championship in 1978, hitting .274 with 27 home runs as the Yankees completed one of the greatest comebacks in baseball history, overcoming a 14-game deficit to the Red Sox. In the World Series rematch against the Dodgers, Jackson hit .391 with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs as the Yankees won their 2nd straight title. Jackson remained productive throughout his Yankees tenure. In 1980, he had one of his best seasons at age 34, hitting .300 with 41 home runs and 111 RBIs. After the strike-shortened 1981 season, the Yankees let Jackson walk in free agency, a decision that looks questionable in hindsight. Jackson spent his final years with the California Angels, where he continued to produce, hitting 39 home runs with 101 RBIs in 1982 and helping him reach the ALCS. He retired in 1987 with 563 home runs, 1,702 RBIs, and postseason statistics that were simply remarkable. .278 average, 18 home runs, 48 RBIs in 77 games, including that incredible .357 batting average with 10 home runs in World Series play. Off the field, Jackson became a pop culture icon. He got his own candy bar in 1978, the Reggie Bar, and fans famously threw them onto the field after a home run during the Yankees' home opener. The image of thousands of candy bars raining down on Yankee Stadium became one of baseball's most memorable moments. Jackson was controversial, quotable, and never boring. His confidence, which some viewed as arrogance, helped change how athletes presented themselves to the public. Before Jackson, most players were expected to be humble. Jackson showed there was room for boldness, for players who weren't afraid to talk about their own greatness. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1993, his first year of eligibility, and had his number retired by both the Yankees and Athletics, a rare honor that speaks to his impact on both franchises. As of 2024, he continues to serve as a special advisor to the Houston Astros. But perhaps Jackson's most important legacy was his impact during crucial moments. He played in 5 World Series and hit .357 with 10 home runs, numbers that are almost unfathomable in their excellence. When the lights were brightest and the pressure was highest, Jackson consistently delivered. Reggie Jackson was never just a ball player. He was a performer, a provocateur, and a clutch king who understood that baseball was entertainment as much as it was competition. In a sport where humility was often praised, Jackson showed that there was room for boldness, for players who weren't afraid to embrace the spotlight and deliver when it mattered most. He didn't just stir the drink, he served it with style, with flair, and with a level of clutch performance that may never be matched. That's the legacy of Mr. October. Not just the numbers, not just the championships, but the understanding that some moments in sports transcend the game itself and become part of our collective memory. Because, in the end, Reggie Jackson didn't just play baseball, he made it unforgettable. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and comment to let us know who you want to hear about next. Subscribe for more legendary baseball stories every week. This is Inside Baseball, where we bring you the best of the game.